Hi, welcome to my new video, where I'll be talking about my favorite TV show, Top Gear. Top Gear, the most successful motoring show and the most watched regular television program, which, at the height of its popularity, was watched by an average of 350 million viewers in more than 100 countries around the world. The BBC first began airing Top Gear as a car show back in 1977. However, the series that would eventually become world famous began airing in 2002, when Andy Willman took over production and Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and, a year later, James May became the hosts. Above all, the childhood friends Andy Willman and Jeremy Clarkson had a decisive influence on the show, which traveled the world and conquered it. But let's take a look at how the journey to the top unfolded and what the key highlights were. After taking over Top Gear, Clarkson and Willman wanted to do some things differently. They wanted a permanent studio with a live audience, their own test track, which became the Dunsfold Airport, and their own silent test driver, about whom there are many stories and who is known as the Stig. The show also had several recurring elements that appeared in most episodes. Car tests, ideally featuring one, car per episode, a supercar or something similar. A lap around the track with a celebrity. A well-known circuit that is just under 3 kilometers, or 1¼ miles, featuring famous sections and turns like Gambon and Hammerhead. First, there is an interview with the celebrity, and then we see them driving a reasonably priced car, which has varied over the years. Another important segment is the news, which is often edited out, especially for foreign broadcasts, but consists of a few minutes of a humorous talk show about the latest car news. In the first half of the show, there were often other studio segments, such as comparison charts. The most popular, however, are various challenges, ideally when each of the trio buys a different car and then it's determined who made the best purchase. For example, a Porsche under £1,500, which was one of the first tests of affordable cars, or owning an ambulance or a police car. There were really a lot of these challenges, and sometimes they'd challenge the trio to build something together. For example, a convertible from a Renault Espace or a hovercraft. However, it was the special episodes that brought them the greatest popularity and fame. These were long road trips in cars that were mostly used vehicles purchased at a lower price. The first major special was the Botswana Special, which remains one of the main trio's all-time favorite episodes to this day. They traveled to many places in Africa, Asia, and South America in this way. Overall, there aren't many countries left in the world that they haven't visited, whether on Top Gear or later on the Grand Tour. Top Gear aired with the lineup of Clarkson, Hammond, and May until 2015, when the BBC lost patience with Jeremy Clarkson's antics and, after he struck one of the producers, decided not to continue with him. His two colleagues, Andy Willman and part of their team, decided to leave with Jeremy, and despite an offer from Netflix, they chose to sign a lucrative deal with Amazon and name the new show The Grand Tour. The Grand Tour faced a huge challenge. Top Gear was at the absolute peak of its popularity. Suddenly, they had to launch a similar show from scratch on a small platform, but it had to be different. The BBC retained the rights to the Stig and certain catchphrases, and especially in the beginning, it launched a fierce attack on the Grand Tour, determined to sink the competition. The Grand Tour did have a significantly higher budget. But not everything went smoothly at first, and the episodes where less money was spent are more popular with viewers than those featuring high-speed stunts and the most expensive cars. A major advantage of the budget was the ability to travel. The Grand Tour offered many special episodes, and for the last 5 years, they've focused exclusively on them. The very end of the show was the highlight, with a crowd of fans applauding at the very spot where the specials had begun. In contrast, Top Gear under its original title on the BBC began to rapidly decline. Over the course of 6 years, they went through 8 hosts, and since 2022, the show hasn't been filmed and has likely ended for good. Some viewers didn't even give it a chance, most stopped watching after a few episodes. That means that when you mention Top Gear to someone, no one thinks of the latest lineup or the original show, but rather the trio of Clarkson, Hammond, and May. What are your best memories of Top Gear? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and bye.